Hi. NASA says that they have found the clearest sign yet about ancient life on Mars. When the news about this happens, instantaneously all of the social media posts about this just exaggerate what happened, up to the point that most people are just talking about we have found the proof of life on Mars. We have not found proof yet. It is far away from being a proof for anything, but it's a good starting point. The NASA rover Perseverance was sent to a mission on Jezero crater, which is an ancient lake bed. Perseverance collected some rock samples a year ago, and it sent all the data and the images back to Earth. What we saw was two specific minerals: vivenite, which is an iron phosphate mineral, and greigite, which is an iron sulfide mineral, both of which forms after microbes react with organic matter. The mudstone samples and images also form a colorful green, blue, black and white leopard spots or poppy seeds. This kind of pattern suggests that this might be a byproduct of a microbial metabolism, because it seems unlikely that a natural or a geological event to cause this, so it's a good starting point to think about ancient microbial life on Mars. But saying this is the clearest sign yet, the word yet is a strong word there. This is not a clear sign at all. It is still close to being a 50% proof of chance of life. Before going further, I am not an astrophysicist or a microbiologist. I'm just a regular person. I was just curious about what these news articles were talking about. So you are very much welcome to search this along with me or to later tell me your findings in the comments down below. Let's start with why we are looking for an ancient life, not a currently living microbacterials there. Mars surface is very hostile. Mars currently has no magnetic field, so UV light and cosmic rays bombard the surface all the time, which is very hard for any chemical to stay together for a long time. You know, life is just built upon chemicals, and having this highly energetic rays all the time bombarding your chemicals, it just breaks everything. So this is the first reason that we don't have any life on Mars currently, at least on its surface. It also has a thin atmosphere. It is so thin that the atmosphere pressure is only 0.6% of Earth's atmospheric pressure. So we can interpret that as there is an absence of enough gases to react with the environment. Of course, we shouldn't just think about the life on Earth, but having oxygen and nitrogen on Earth really helps life build on top of that. Mars mostly has carbon dioxide, and it is, like I said, a very thin layer. Atmospheric pressure also keeps things together, but even if you evolve beyond that, you are still going to have a hard time with the temperature changes. Temperatures really vary too much on Mars' surface. It can vary up to 90 Celsius degrees during day and night switch. The equator of Mars can get up to 20 Celsius degrees, and the poles can get as low as minus 153 Celsius degrees. And also the surface has lots of toxic minerals and salts that are mostly known to destroy organic chemicals. So look for a similar life or not, it is always a harsh and an unstable environment on Mars, which is probably why we didn't find any currently living organisms there, and also why it is not that much possible to find any in the future, at least in the surface. But looking for an ancient life might change how we view the universe. Maybe there's always a high possibility for evolution of life in the gold spot in each star, in the habitable zone. I couldn't remember the word, sorry. So are Mars rover finding anything that can suggest a microbial life can be viewed as a proof, right? Well, yes, it definitely can be viewed as a proof, but that is just the final step. We have lots of things to do here. First, we have to get those samples back to Earth, because these minerals we found can be formed under geological and volcanic stress, and it's an old lake bed, so maybe the water formed the shapes. That is the other side of the 50% chance. So these minerals just existing there doesn't actually prove anything, but it is what makes everyone think about it. It's a lake environment with stable water, with great sunlight and possible nutrients. It is exactly the environment that microbes could thrive. Finding vivenite and greigite together is also unexpected. It is not impossible, but it is not the default geological outcome. Having them in patterned shapes also not expected, because for natural geological formation you would expect layers or crystals that are uniform, not irregular. Having these spotty patches just suggests that there was something happening locally in here. Another thing is natural formation of sulfides, iron phosphates rely highly on heat, like vents or volcanic fluids, but Perseverance instruments and data suggest that this was formed in cool and near surface conditions. So all these really makes you think. It is still a 50% chance, but we should go ahead and seek that answer ourselves. So a very good thing we can do is, like I said, bringing back those samples here. After that, we can look for cell-like structures. We can also distinguish between naturally occurring crystals and biological crystals that are byproducts. We can look for the use of isotopes. Most organisms just prefer a single isotope over another one. We can look for the quality or one-handedness of the life. Some chemicals can be formed in left-handed way or right-handed way. It is like your mirror image. You are not the same with your mirror image. Think about using face recognition on your phone, like Face ID. If you try to unlock your phone with your mirrored face, it is probably not going to work. Chemical structures can be formed in two different ways and it is not interchangeable. So most life on Earth just opted in for the left-handed chemicals. I guess it is just easier to just support one kind of chemicals, but in natural processes these can be just 50% each. So after getting these samples from Mars, we can look for if they are 50% or 100% from a single chirality. We can also run other tests to see if we can produce these ourselves in natural environments and then see if the patterns match. We should also check for Earth contamination because we went there. NASA was very cautious about Earth contamination on their missions, but it is still possible that we just transferred some Earth microbes there and contaminated the surface of the Mars. So there's lots of things to check. Even though this might not give us a full answer, it is going to get us closer to the truth. And the problem is we never done this before. We never retrieved any sample from the Mars. And most of the news articles are talking about the new budget cuts on NASA. I don't live in USA, so USA politics is just out of my habitable zone. But I just felt sad because this was the time to make the budget cuts, just before we were to go ahead and retrieve a sample from Mars. Well, maybe another country can do it or another private company, but it is definitely going to cost too much, isn't it? Going all the way there and getting here successfully in one piece. I'm sure it is going to be expensive, but it is a very essential question for humanity. Were we just lucky enough to live here? But overall, I should say anyone just titling this with the clearest sign of proof on Mars, just don't do it. Just why are you guys doing it all? Before I started the search about this topic 2 hours ago, I really thought something big happened. These news pages, all of them are just so unhinged. Anyway, what do you think about this? Do you think the Mars had ancient life? Do you think this is enough proof already and we should start the party? Would you volunteer to go to Mars and retrieve a sample for us? Well, it can be done by robots, of course, but it would look great on your resume to do it yourself. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please subscribe and thank you for listening.